Aircraft engineering, English language communication skills for engineers. English for aviation has been developed specifically for people who work in the aviation industry and need to comply with the International Civil Aviation Organization's language proficiency requirements. It supports standard phraseology and builds upon it to help improve plain English in the skill areas specified by ICAO: pronunciation, structure, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, and interactions. English language communication skills for engineers. English language training for engineers focuses almost exclusively on improving their listening and speaking skills. Effective verbal communication is essential to ensuring safety in civil aviation. A certain degree of fluency is required because the engineer needs to receive information and instructions in good time to react accordingly. The interaction between pilots and engineers must be effective, as both parties need to be able to check, confirm, and clarify when misunderstandings occur. English language training for engineers. We also require sufficient vocabulary to be able to communicate in both the routine and non-routine situations. In addition, we need to have a good command of basic grammatical structures so that we can communicate information in a format which will be understood effectively. Finally, pronunciation needs to be sufficiently clear and intelligible to the international aviation community. The 5 features highlighted above — fluency, interaction, vocabulary, grammatical structure, and pronunciation — are the criteria which appear on the ICAO Language Proficiency Scale. We must be able to clearly understand their interlocutor in routine everyday situations, and where an unusual or unexpected situation might cause confusion, they must have clarification strategies available. Competency. Pronunciation. Pronunciation assumes a dialect and/or accent intelligible to the aeronautical community. Pronunciation, stress, rhythm, and intonation are influenced by the first language or regional variation, but only sometimes interfere with the ease of understanding. Relevant grammatical structures and sentence patterns are determined by language functions appropriate to the task. Basic grammatical structures and sentence patterns are used creatively and are usually well controlled. Errors may occur, particularly in unusual or unexpected circumstances, but rarely interfere with the meaning. Vocabulary. Vocabulary range and accuracy are usually sufficient to communicate effectively on common, concrete, and work-related topics. It can often paraphrase successfully when lacking vocabulary in unusual or unexpected circumstances. Fluency. Fluency produces stretches of language at an appropriate tempo. There may be occasional loss of fluency on transition from rehearsed or formulaic speech to spontaneous interaction, but this does not prevent effective communication. It can make limited use of discourse markers or connectors. Fillers are not distracting. Comprehension. Comprehension is mostly accurate on common, concrete, and work-related topics when the accent or variety used is sufficiently intelligible for an international community of users. When the speaker is confronted with a linguistic or situational complication, or an unexpected turn of events, comprehension may be slower or require clarification strategies. Interactions. Responses are usually immediate, appropriate, and informative. Clear responses can initiate and maintain exchanges even when dealing with an unexpected turn of events. They deal adequately with apparent misunderstandings by checking, confirming, or clarifying. Aircraft Maintenance Manual. The Aircraft Maintenance Manual is a formal document which details the way in which all maintenance tasks are carried out on an aircraft. This includes items such as the lubrication system, functional checks and servicing of the aeroplane, but usually excludes structural repairs and modifications. Work card. A tailored description of a maintenance task is prepared from original documentation by a technical support office to facilitate the correct completion of that task by those assigned to complete it. Also, it is referred to as a task card or a job card. Logbook. The aircraft logbook is the record in which all data concerning the aircraft is recorded. Information gathered in this log is used to determine the aircraft's condition, date of inspections, time on airframe, engines and propellers. It reflects a history of all significant events occurring to that aircraft, its components and accessories. They also serve to trace back their history of maintenance record, and they can also provide a means to determine if its maintenance requirements for the aircraft are met and the information is up to date. Understanding of the technical documents from the authority and aircraft manufacturer. The diagram below indicates what will happen when an inherent safety issue is known with a particular aircraft model. The National Aviation Authority will notify the affected aircraft operators or owners, and how other parties, such as manufacturers, will respond to this notification and take relevant corrective actions. Airworthiness, AD. An airworthiness directive is a notification to owners and operators of certified aircraft that a known safety deficiency with a particular model of aircraft, engine, avionics or other systems exist and must be corrected. If a certified aircraft has outstanding airworthiness directives that have not been complied with, the aircraft is not considered airworthy. Therefore, it is mandatory for an aircraft operator to comply with an AD. It is usually resulted from service difficulty reporting by operators or from the results of aircraft accident investigations, which is issued by the National Civil Aviation Authority. Service Bulletin, SB. A service bulletin is the document used by manufacturers of aircraft to communicate details of modifications that can be embodied in an aircraft. If an available modification is judged by the manufacturer to be a matter of safety rather than simply product improvement, then these would be issued as an alert SB, in which case a corresponding airworthiness directive would usually be then issued by the appropriate authority. A service bulletin is a notice to an aircraft operator from a manufacturer informing him or her of a product improvement. An alert service bulletin is issued when an unsafe condition shows up that the manufacturer believes to be a safety related as opposed to a mere improvement of the product. Engineering Order, EO. The Engineering Order is the subsidiary legislation of the Civil Aviation Ordinance 1997. It provides the legal power to carrying out the Chicago Convention, any annex thereto relating to international standards and recommended practices and regulating air navigation. Aircraft. It is essential for all persons concerned in maintaining airworthiness standards of civil aircraft to study all the legislative documents themselves. The intention is to serve as an overall guide to highlight the legislative functions and responsibilities of the civil aircraft maintenance engineer. We hope the above information is helpful to you. Thank you.